Hello. I am so sorry that we are a little bit delayed right now. We had some technical difficulty. My laptop was kind of screwy at first, and then Amanda had some issues on her end, but we are good now. So I hope that everyone has hung on for a bit. I know we're a little bit late. I'm really, really sorry about that. You know, shit happens. This is what happens when you rely on technology to get things done for you. So I want to say welcome, welcome, welcome. So glad that you have decided to join us tonight for the Cafe Power Hour. You know that when we do these power hours, we always have pretty cool trainings going on. I'm doing them. I will be doing more with other people as well to get you guys as much information as possible to help you with your businesses and with confidence in having your business. So today, what we have is we have Amanda Richardson with us today, and she is an expert in branding of photography and in confidence and building confidence in your brand. So what I'm going to do is I am going to turn this over to Amanda. She does have a presentation to do, and we're just going to have a little conversation and go through it. I encourage you, if you are on the live with us right now, to put your comments into the beneath the live box there so that we can see your comments and answer your questions as we go. If you happen to catch this on the replay, I would appreciate it that if you want to ask comments specifically for Amanda to answer for you, to tag her in the comment. Again, she is also in the group with us, so you should be able to tag her in the comment. So I will turn this over now to Amanda, and Amanda will start her presentation, tell you a little bit about herself, what she does, and give you tons of information on how to be confident. Thank you for coming tonight, Amanda.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I'm so sorry for my technical issues as well. And I'm just going to share my screen now so that everybody can follow along. And if you can see that, you can see that now, correct?
Yep.
Okay, great. So I'm a personal brand photographer, and a lot of people don't know what that means, actually. Especially, it's kind of a combination of lifestyle photography combined with business branding. And a lot of people, when they hear, you know, brand photographer, they think headshot, right? So I'm going to walk you through the more in-depth part of what branding is, and especially the personal side of it. So to first give you a little information about me, I founded this company in 2018, but I'm kind of a serial entrepreneur. I've owned both a catering and retail business for allergy friendly, as well as an event planning firm. So I've been an entrepreneur for, gosh, I don't want to date myself, but it's been a long time. In the years, every time we have a new year, I'm like, I just stick with like, oh, it's only been 10 years, but it's been a lot longer than that. I'm sure you understand what I mean.
Do get it. Do get it. That is very, very cool. So you started this in 2018 then?
Yes, I did. This has actually been my dream business. And although I've had other endeavors, this is it for me. This is what we're building to kind of retire on.
So what made you really want to get into the photography?
So it's a long story. I actually just this week wrote a blog post on how I got started, because it is such a long and winding road, and I'm not going to bore everyone with all of it. But suffice to say, all of my life I was in food, and at that point, and so it was just kind of a given that everyone thought I wanted to be a chef, and so I followed that, and I had a passion for cooking, but it ended up becoming a chef actually ended up killing that passion. I end up not even wanting to cook anymore. It's kind of sad to me, honestly.
I think that happens a lot though.
Yeah, it really, so that being said, it's a long and winding road, but I kind of tripped over event planning from being a chef because I had clients of the same nature still wanting to work with me, but at least in a different capacity. So I ended up doing that. But in 2018, very literally like the first of the year, I was diagnosed with uterine cancer. And then at the same time, my husband was given the green light to go overseas. And so we kind of we went away together and just said, well, what's making me happy? Weddings don't make me happy. And I always had this super secret dream of being a photographer. Even during the time that I was doing weddings, I would always gravitate towards the photographers and have extensive conversations and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, that being said, I'm gifted with both sides of my brain, logistically and creatively. So I am able to kind of use both of those. So that's where it all started. I love what I do. Like, I can't get enough of what I do. I can't get enough of being behind the camera. And my kids hate me. So this is my husband. To give you a little background, he is overseas still. He actually just left Monday. And so he was home for 3 months, but we hadn't seen him in a year because of COVID. So
Wow.
yeah, and he was supposed to go back at the beginning of January, and then he didn't. But he's my biggest supporter. We've only been married since 2015, but we were married 6 months after we started dating. So it was just kind of like, yeah, it was like, we started dating and it was like, when's the wedding? It's just one of those easygoing things. These are my other three loves. My daughter Caitlin is 24. My middle guy on the right there is 22, and my youngest just turned 20. And they're characters. You get the three of them together and they're characters. And this is basically the story of their childhood in 3 images. One of them's goofy. My daughter rules them all, and they have a love-hate relationship, the oldest and the youngest, but they're exactly alike.
I love it. I love it.
So, and this is the baby, and she's here. Her name's Lily, and the image pretty much speaks for itself. She is pretty much spoiled. So I'm telling you all of this. I'm going a little bit more in depth about me and who I am, because that kind of defines what I do. It is my personal brand. The people that I do my life or do what I love for is for the people that I love, plainly put. So so it's important to really recognize, who your people are, because they're really where you can start personal branding yourself, right? Like that's who you are, and business is personal, and we'll get into that. But that's why I share this.
It was like a story, right? For us, it was like a story, seeing the background of your life. That's very, very interesting. I really like this.
And this is how I shoot too. It's so funny because when I share galleries, it's about the story, even of the day that we did the whole shoot. But it's meant to tell a story in images. And I love to write, so it goes hand in hand with what I do. And like I said, branding is not a headshot. So that's the first thing that we have to kind of remove from our brains when we talk personal branding. And people really wonder how it can set yourself apart. But having a representation in images of the story that you want to tell, that you want to share to the world. Now, I'm not saying like we're going to go overboard and like all of a sudden on Instagram, like talk about something crazy. We're not talking about that. You know, it can be little bits and pieces, but people attach to your life, you know, people attach to you, especially as a small business owner.
So that
And I'm
for
going to
me,
read.
I should have like more pictures of my dogs and flip-flops and margaritas than what I have. I
Yes.
got it.
Yes, exactly. And so I'm going to read what I wrote here. It's a predictable, cohesive look and feel to your business brand. It should resonate with your ideal clients, creating a welcoming atmosphere that educates and inspires. And so educating them you're educating them not only on the behind the scenes of your business, but you're educating them on who you are. And it's really powerful once you start to really get into the rhythm of using it.
So then So then
Yeah.
what I'm thinking is so what you're saying is instead of just having a bunch of pretty images on your website or on your Instagram or Facebook page or wherever your social is, it gives your ideal clients a kind of peek inside of who you actually are rather than just another face. Is that right?
Exactly.
Got it.
Exactly. Because, and I can relate to this as a photographer. So everybody millions of people take pretty pictures. So what makes me different from, a photographer that is, right next to me doing the exact same thing. The first thing that makes you unique in business, and this is something, this is one of the first questions I ask my or potential clients when I work with them is, do you have a niche? Because a niche, not only do you need your personal brand, but in business, you need a niche to say, I know what I'm going to take pictures of, right? Behind the scenes. Because we need both of those things. They kind of play off each other. But for instance, this picture here, the outfit she's wearing, the style that she has tells a lot about her. It tells you
Definitely.
how she's going to show up. It tells you, she means business, but she's cool. She's fun. And so it tells you she's got her stuff together, right?
And she likes the bakery.
Yeah. This could be where she works in terms of like, she could own this bakery. This could be where she works, satellite office wise. It could be several different things. It just depends on what your brand is. But attracting those higher end clients, you need that flow.
Right.
And so we'll flip to this. This is my favorite slide because it shows the side by side of like, really, how does this make you feel? Like both these things.
And I'm sure that some people are going to resonate with this. Some people that watch this are going to be like, oh, this is totally what I do. And then there's going to be some that have the predictable garners of trust and quality, right?
So yes, exactly. And it shouldn't be a bad thing to say, oh, my feed looks like this, and I actually offer a service once I work with a client on the back end, like once we've worked together and you have those images, I actually offer a service that helps you curate the images to look more, cohesive and together.
Because the tones on the one side are they're a lot more alike, whereas the other side is just, it's like it's life, but it's a totally different view.
Right, exactly. So, and full permission to use this, like this is not a secret, I'm not, making fun of anyone, so.
No. This is important information. Like, this is why people are watching this to find out, right? Like, what do I have that works? What do I have that doesn't work? For instance, like on my website, I do have a bunch of photographs that have a lot of the green and blue tones that I portray overall everywhere in all of my, social and everything. But then I also have a couple that are lighter with the pink. So that to me gave me an indication of, hey, maybe I should look at, changing up a few so that it is more cohesive.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
ladies, if you're out there and you have a bunch of jumbled different photographs all over the place, nobody's knocking you. All we're doing tonight is we're just bringing awareness to personal branding.
Gotcha. Yeah, and it's not just even the colors, it's how you pair the images together. And that comes from learning, imagery, and, so you would have like a pulled back image, one that's like far away, an image like this, where pairing next to that, you want to maybe pair something close up. And so that takes a lot of work and a lot of time.
This is an art.
Mm-hmm. It really is. But if you have the professional imagery to go along with that, it goes a long way. And it actually makes things easier and less time consuming once you get into the rhythm of it. But speaking of time, quality does equal time. But if you think about, say you're writing a blog post about, something personal, that blog post is actually more valuable to you than the cost of some mass marketing projects that you might invest in. So I'm thinking of like say wedding planners, you get that top property spot on the knot, and that's going to cost you X amount. But some people can't afford that, but they can afford their time to go sit and write a blog post, take 3 hours, and then maybe invest that money that they were going to invest in something else and invest it in themselves, in the personal brand, and really set themselves apart from their competition that way. So because no one else is you, right? Like nobody can copy your story, your journey, your life. They can copy your colors and everything else you do, but they're never going to be you. And that's what your clients are really wanting. And again, your business is personal. I just love her. She was so fun to photograph. I could have photographed her all day long. She's so beautiful. So I love this quote from You've Got Mail. Do you remember it? Have you seen that movie? Yeah. So this quote from You've Got Mail is, whatever else anything is, it ought to begin by being personal. And it's when they're sitting having coffee and he's kind of trying to win her over, and he's like, it's just business, it wasn't personal. And that's when she says that. And I have never forgot that, because it's so true, especially as small business owners, because it's our life, it's our livelihood.
That's
right?
True.
It's so personal to us. When I sold my first business, I sold a portion of it off, and it was like dealing with a death. It was so hard.
Oh,
it was so I didn't realize it until I was inside it, but I looked back because I had 3 small kids and I was a single mom at that time. And I had put blood, sweat, and tears, and like lots of tears and 4 a.m.s. And, it was a lot, and I gave up so much for it, but I would never give it back because I learned so much from the experience. And my kids are the hardest workers I've ever seen. And I swear it's from their dad and I, working our butts off all the time.
You know what? I had a client before that we used to talk about how starting a business, having your own personal business was a lot like raising a baby, right?
Yes.
And how much attention you put into it, and the things, that feeding it, watering, like all those things, and making sure that everything is okay. Watering it, I mean, it's not.
Well, we water it with tears when we get overwhelmed.
Yeah, exactly. Water it with tears. Yeah. So, but no, it was, and it just, when you said that, it just reminded me when you had said that, how much it you felt inside when you gave it up. It was like your child leaving, you've done everything to raise this child, and now it's time for them to leave. And that's the same, I feel very, very similar to when you have a business. You bring it, you put so much blood, sweat, and tears into it that if it comes to a time where you do have to let it go, I can understand that connection completely. And it's personal. It really is personal. Yeah.
It really is. And you look back and you're like, oh, I look back on my event business too. And that wasn't as hard because I knew I was going towards something that I had. It's funny, like back in high school, I took photography classes, and when we weren't skipping class, I loved taking the pictures, right? We used to go to Dunkin' Donuts instead of going to class, but but it was the only class I ever skipped, actually. But anyway, I'm not that much of a rebel. But it was a lot of, I remember loving it so much then, and it's just always been there in the back of my mind. And it came so naturally to me once I really started investing my time into learning it. Classes came so easy to me. So so I really love it. So your clients, because everyone's thinking, well, pretty pictures are great, but like, what's the return on investment here? You're gonna get that back in ways. It comes over time. I have clients that come to me and they're just like, I can't believe how much I use these images. And then I have clients that actually, they're at the top of my head now, that I worked with like as full service. I just launched these mini sessions. They're now coming back and doing the mini sessions so that they can continue filling their social media, because after a while your images are going to wear out, right?
Yeah.
So that's just, you don't want to show the same thing all the time.
Before I forget, so now that you've said that, how often should you be updating like your personal images, the photos of yourself, not as much well, I'm sure you should probably be doing these too, but how often should you be doing something like that? Once a year, once every 6 or 7 months? Like, what is to keep it fresh?
So what typically happens is I'll work with a client. I work with two different kinds of clients, essentially.
Okay.
They're typically at least a year or two into business. They're probably redoing their website, and either that or they're rebranding completely. And that is like a full branding session where we like deep dive into your web, everything. Like, I want to know what you want your cover page to look like. And then I work with the web designer, and it's like a huge process.
Oh yeah.
It's a full day session. And I go as far as like, I create like this binder of you, right? Like, I sketch out where you're gonna, what you're gonna wear, like the colors, and then where they're going to be. I've got swatches of like what the colors will be so that we can make sure all of that jives. So we know what you're wearing in what area, what location you're wearing it in. We do 3 outfits or 4 outfits. We do 3 locations. That's like a full branding,
Wow.
large scale. And then at the end, which is the funnest part that I love, is that you get the binder at the end. So like it becomes yours,
That's very exciting. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just kind of like this cool thing that you can look back, especially if we go back and work together again, we can see what we did. And anyway.
You know what I will mention to the women that are in the group, if you've never had like an actual branding photographer take your photos, it's not the same as like going somewhere and getting your photos taken. It's absolutely not the same. If you think about prior, like when you would go somewhere and get your photos taken in a studio and it was like your family photo or whatever it was, you would go through them and there'd be like 300 and you'd literally find 2 because you hate the way you look in all of them. But when you work with a branding photographer, that photographer will literally give you like 80 photos and you'll love 79 of them. So then it becomes really hard to decide what you want to use or what you're going to save for later. So I just wanted to pop in and say that for those of you that have never had a actual branding photographer take photos of you, very different.
That is so true. And I'm laughing at the 80 pictures because my editor and I laugh because I call myself an overshooter because I can't stop, I just, and I freak out during, like if I've got really good light and you'll know we're having fun. And, but I overshoot, which means I over deliver. So you get like every smile and every pose. I mean, especially a full branding session, you're going to get a ton. Because you figure 6 hours of shooting, that's a lot of pictures. But then you have plenty of variety not everybody loves like you said, not everyone loves every smile. People love pictures of me that I'm like, oh God, I hate that picture of me, but everybody else loves it, right? Yeah. So you absolutely need to have choices. And but back to your question, so a full branding session would be like a full rebrand and that type of thing. But on an annual basis, and this is why I design these mini sessions, we trial and errored a few different kinds of collections for them. And these ones have stuck, and it offers, 2 throughout the year, 4 throughout the year, or you can get, 1 every single month. And I have corporate clients that I work with that do the monthly, and that's more appropriate for them because I have more going on. Really, the sweet spot is 4. So you're doing a quarterly shoot. That's really the sweet spot. You get just enough to, cover the quarter, and it can be really focused on the upcoming campaigns that you might have coming,
so like use the seasons kind of as a guideline, right? Yeah, like we should be looking at the seasons for different photographs.
Exactly. Yeah. And this is basically just to note, it's not just about social media. When we work together and we're forming these entire brand landscape for yourself, you have to think beyond just Instagram, right?
Yeah.
Your website's very important, so that becomes the forefront. But you've got things now where your CRMs are completely customizable. So your proposals should include something that says, "Hi, it's me. Like, remember we just talked on the phone? This is my face again," to reinforce those things. If you're in the wedding industry, especially, depending if you give like a pricing guide or if you do a proposal up front. Like I do a proposal because I work business to business, but when you're working business to consumer, you're likely creating some kind of pricing guide. And a couple pages of talking about you up front and really having the client that just emailed you and said, "Hey, I want to know your pricing." Let's let them get to know you first and then flip to those prices. Let's not just be like, "Here's a PDF of, all the numbers," and maybe scare them off. Let them get to know you a little bit as best you can. So it takes it well beyond just, and then we talked a lot about, how I go in depth. So style. And this might be one of the biggest hindrances I see is styling and confidence in front of the camera. Because, I mean, if you're anything like me, I literally hate to shop. I am not a shopper. I don't like to go into the stores. Before COVID. Like I was not a browser. I didn't go to the mall. Christmas, I have a list. I know what I want. I go in, I go out. The only store I would shop at pre-COVID was Black and White. I don't know if you're familiar with that up there.
No.
It's White House Black Market, and they knew me when I walked in. They would be like, "Oh, hi," because it's the only store I ever went to, and they put your name on a like a little slate marker board. They hang it on the dressing room, and then they shop for you.
Oh,
They just bring you
wow.
things, and that's the only place I ever shopped for clothes because I hate shopping and I'm really self-conscious about myself. So I'm really aware of that when I work with someone, but it becomes such an issue that so many women put off the pictures because they don't
Yeah.
know they don't know what they're going to wear, and they know they're going to hate themselves so that's why I take so much time getting to know people beforehand so that we're not just snapping pictures and then you're like, oh, I hated those. I was having a bad hair day or whatever. We're going to like get into
Yeah.
hair and makeup. And do you need someone to help you style? Do you need someone to help you with your hair and bring all those things together? And that's really important. And I can talk about, this is Lisa Brooks.
She's beautiful.
She is so pretty. And this is the best example of someone who really stepped outside their comfort zone. And I pushed her to do this. So she kept insisting. She started as a personal chef, Charlotte, North Carolina. And she is now the CEO and executive chef of Heart and Soul Personal Chef Services. She started about 10 years ago, but she's grown into this CEO role. So she and I met right before COVID hit. We met and went under contract together. And then it took us like almost a year to get the shoot done just because of everything going on. And, but she has been booming even since COVID. So it goes to her, business sense and everything. But she kept insisting to me, all I do is wear a t-shirt that says something about food on it and jeans. And that's definitely her. It's definitely her brand. But I told her, I was like, you are going to want those more business professional pictures as you start growing, writing a cookbook and those things, you're going to want something a little bit different for that. So she stepped outside her comfort zone in this outfit. And she's just beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
Really
It's a gorgeous photo.
She's so much fun, and she was so uncomfortable, and I was just like, I had to keep making her laugh because she's like, like she would take off her shoes every time we walk somewhere else, But she, yeah. So I was so pleased, and she loved the pictures, so I was so happy about that.
So I'm just going to stop you just for a second because we've kind of been on this topic of talking about like what to wear to your photos and all that. So as for you as a branding photographer, when you get to know the client that you're going to do the photographs for, do you recommend certain colors or styles or things like that? Or is that still something that, as a client, they'd be left up to themselves? Like for instance, she normally wears t-shirts and jeans, but in this, like she still has a t-shirt on, but it's very dressed up. Like it's a lot, there's a lot more to it than just a t-shirt and a pair of jeans. So is that something that you would work on with your clients, or is that something like, or you would make suggestions, or are they still left to their own devices of, okay, well, I need to go shopping, or this is what I want to wear?
Actually, that's a jumpsuit that she's wearing. It's
Oh, is it really?
Like, flowy jumpsuits.
Well, it's beautiful.
Really
so,
I should have put the
I thought just because I saw the short sleeves, I thought maybe it was just still a top. But
yeah, no, she had on heels and everything.
Good for her.
So the funny thing is, it's interesting that you asked that. So I offered for her to do styling. I ended up making suggestions, and then she actually had someone within her circle that helped her style this look for her.
Okay, so then she had a person that was more of a stylist. She didn't do this on her own.
Right. However, normally I would have someone work with them that's my stylist.
Oh,
so
okay.
I would have someone work with them, but she, it was just a unique situation where she had someone that already did that. So it just made sense. But yeah, I have a couple of people that I call on that own boutiques, and I ask them to work with the clients that might be uncomfortable, and also then hair and makeup, because I travel so much. Hair and makeup becomes a more local thing to wherever we're doing the shoot, so that
Okay.
becomes we have to research that a little bit more.
So this can be a whole process.
It usually
This is
is.
like your wedding day. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Almost, really. Yeah, almost. And especially because they need more than one outfit. It's not just, the comfortable outfits are usually pretty easy to find, but it's the dressier outfits that, and of course right now, who's getting dressed up, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like I think I've been living in leggings for like the
But
last year.
oh yeah, I know. Just putting jeans on, I'm like, oh. But I go on Stitch Fix now. Have you ever heard of Stitch Fix?
Is that no? I feel like I have, but I don't know enough about it. Is that the one where they tailor the clothes to you? Or yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, because I don't really go, anywhere right now because of COVID, except for like clients. I go on, I like pre-order. This was from Stitch Fix. Like they just pick what they think you'll like, and then you send it back if you don't like it, and you don't have to pay for
Okay.
it. So it's really kind of cool. But yeah, I'm not a shopper. I'm definitely not a shopper. But style, so now that we've been talking about style and clothes and all of that, it kind of goes beyond style and clothes. And so it's important to understand that style, especially in photography language, we talk a lot about style in terms of the images themselves. So pairing, like we were talking about, just curating those images on Instagram, having that flow. There's a style of photography, and I guess you would relate it to like putting a filter on your Instagram photos. So if you always consistently put a filter in the same filter on your Instagram images, that's you portraying a style, some people like the dark and moody, some people like the light and airy, and there's variations between the two. So style goes, you're not just styling your clothes. So it's important when you work with a photographer that that they can either achieve that style that you want, or that you're getting someone that already, shows you that they can do that style. So it goes, it goes to fonts, it goes to colors, it goes to all those things, but we wrap all of it up neat in a package, in a picture, because we're able to include the colors and everything else. So finally, details. So details are literally one of my favorite things to shoot. They really pull everything together. So if you always have an image, if you're always, personal branding is very important, and you're always showing an image of yourself, that's great. But you also need something to make that flow. You need to pull everything together, right? It's not just like if you're talking, I always, I make cinnamon rolls every Sunday morning. This is a perfect picture to tell your audience that it's not just about, your face, and, getting your face in there too is great, but you don't always, it will become redundant. So details are really important, and they're really fun, and they help build color too.
So what kind of photographs like this of still images would you recommend for someone that was a coach or a course creator, or someone that was more service-based, someone that, but not in the way of, I would understand if you're a wedding planner, the kinds of photographs that you would have, or if you had a bakery or something like that. But for instance, if you created courses, if you were a marketing expert, if you were, that, what kind of still images would you recommend? Is it more of like things that they do, like you said, you make, cinnamon buns. So is that something that you would recommend, that because you do this on the regular, this should be something that you put in, or should it just be like, for me, like I said, should I have pictures of flip-flops? Like what,
Yes,
what
yes.
kind of,
So it's so funny that you say coach, because we didn't really get anyone to volunteer to do the website critique. What I did was actually made up a mock website, and I used a coach. And so, and this is just totally fake. This is not her website. I just did this. And so she loves gummy bears. This would be like if you land on her homepage.
Okay.
Right? She is a culinary coach. So, and I've done a couple culinary coaches, and it's hard to actually do that because we're skating such a fine line. We don't want the audience to think I'm in your kitchen cooking with you. Like, right. That's not what a culinary coach does. They're teaching them how to become a personal chef, how, the business end of it, all of that. Yeah. So we got some personal details. First of all, her colors, of course, were turquoise and like this lighter blue color. She loves gummy bears. And the first thing you want to do, if I can tell all of you, the first thing you want to do on your website is say what your name is and where you are located. It is lost on so many people to do that. And it's so easy to overlook. I mean, I did it in my own business before I knew better. But yeah, it is just so important to say, hi, I'm Monica. She's the culinary business coach. She's, obsessed with travel, loves her gummy bears, and then her grandson. So, we made sure we included everybody. That I didn't put a picture of her husband up here. I thought his picture was cute. So, but plus this is also just taped together, in terms of content. I'm just trying to show the imagery part and telling the story. But so this would be kind of her personal side of herself. And you're getting that feel as soon as you land on your page. And if you are a coach, it's definitely about your customer, but it's also about you. You want them to get to know you the minute they land on your site. Because, if you say, hi, I'm Monica, but then it's a picture of someone else, it's not going to make any sense.
Yeah.
So you always want your pictures to make sense with your content. So then we're going to scroll down, and let's say these are your teasers, these are your freebies. So like you were asking, what kind of details pictures would you use? Well, she's, using her fingers here. So these are 10 things that every personal, I didn't spell every correctly, that every personal chef should know before starting up. So like, that's a great image to symbolize. Thank you. Symbolize what we're talking about here. Same thing here. And this is why it's so important when you work with a brand photographer that you explain everything you're doing with them, so that you can capture those things, so that you're not stuck when you start to put your website together. Yeah. Or you start to write a post and you're like, crap, I wish I had a picture of that, So it's really important to dive deep. And that's another reason why, like, just going with niching is so important, right? It's important in my business and it's important in your business. So it's important for your photographer to be niched down into branding and not be a wedding photographer, a lifestyle, like
right,
everything. And then, testimonials. And I just used an image here of her talking with a client. It doesn't necessarily have to be that particular client. In my world, it would be because I have pictures of all my clients, but you don't necessarily have pictures of all your clients. So that's right. Okay. And then serving your clients. So these really represent what we're doing. So we're, a virtual group call. I mean, there's one person on the image, but you know, you get the point.
Yeah.
One-on-one coaching, either personally or virtually now, of course, but it's nice to have that, you know, live high touch feel to it. And then, you know, booking a call. So this is just a really quick example that I put together to show like how you would put those images together.
No, I really like that though, because I've never, and I don't know if it's because I don't pay attention to it or if because subconsciously I see it and I don't acknowledge it, but I've never, like now I want to go on everybody's website and I feel like mine has to be fixed. But like seeing, like looking at the image compared to what each one represents on here, there is a definite flow. And like I said, I've never ever noticed that before, you know, like, and it makes it so cohesive. It makes it match so much better. And now I'm going to have to go to Starbucks and pay somebody to stand behind the bar so that I can get a photo so I can put it inside the cafe mindset to kind of go along with the whole thing, right?
Right. Well,
So
and like you said,
like I said, I've never paid attention to that before. Like I never, I know when I first started and when I first put my website together, I was always just like throwing random images wherever, right? And I think a lot of people do that if they are doing their own website, if they don't have somebody actually putting it together for them. So this is very, very interesting to see how the flow goes.
Yeah, and like you said, the color. So, and another thing, you know, just a tip. You know, I'm not a website designer by any stretch, but I will tell you things like what I did was I just pulled this, I screenshotted this and put it into InDesign.
Yeah.
And this was the color here. This darker blue was the color of this entire like person's website. And so I took that. I was originally going to critique it, but I didn't have their permission, so I didn't want to do that.
Right.
So I just took the, you know, the blocks of color, and I knew that Monica's color would go well with it. So, but what I did was I pulled this color way down, like it's the same color code.
Yeah.
But it's pulled way down. So you want to dampen and mute down your colors as much as you can. And it's so interesting. If you have been in business for a while, you probably can go back to older website versions and look and see the more high end you get, the duller the color gets. It just is the way it works. And so if you're trying to attract those more high-end clients, you really want to dampen down those colors.
Wow, that's very interesting. What a great tip.
Yeah. It's something that I learned, and I've really paid attention to it over time, and it's very interesting to find, you know, like looking at other people's websites, you know, it like hits you right away or not, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So yeah, and again, it goes back to style, not just what she's wearing, but the style of the images is the same. So she doesn't have like an iPhone photo and then a professional photo. And I have some clients that still do that. Like they'll have all my images and then they pair them with like their iPhone photos. So I actually started offering a service to like work with them afterwards, because, you know, I want them to be able to purposefully use them and get the most, you know, really level up their businesses. And
but Apple's getting really good at making fabulous cameras now. So
yeah. But it goes beyond, you know, and that goes to what we're talking about, right? Is sure, you could probably take some really good pictures with your phone. I know I have. I mean, I have the 12 now, and I love it because I am able to get like a wider feel to that because of so many cameras on it. But do you know what you're taking a picture of? You know, because I have someone coming next month to do my branding shoot. Because I'm like, I have nothing to take a picture of, you know, like you can't think about it from yourself. You know?
Too close to yourself. That's why.
Exactly. Yeah. Like what is a detail for me, you know? So, yeah. So it's, yeah. But anyway, I am going to share all of the slides with the group. So they'll be available. There'll be a link. You'll just need to input your email address. But with that, you'll also get a mobile app that I've created. You can put it on your phone and you can use, there's just 5 quick tips in there about how to like basically, slim yourself down in front of the camera. And this is great for even like when you're out with the girls, like go through and like, oh, okay, if I do this, I can like cover up the double chin, like leaning forward. My husband even uses the leaning forward one because he's like, I don't want my double chin to show.
That sounds great.
Yeah, so you'll get both those things. You'll get the app and you'll get the slides.
So, and just to reiterate, the link is going to go, Amanda's going to put the link to access that inside the comments. So don't put your email addresses inside the comments to ask for it. There will be a link, and that link will take you to her page, and then that's where you will enter in your email to access this slideshow and the app.
Yes, absolutely. Did you have any other questions, or did anyone have any other questions?
I don't have any, and I took a look and we've had, I don't see any comments in there right now. We've got a shy group tonight, I think. Either that or we've been really good at entertaining them and giving them all the information.
Right.
So what I'm going to say is, if you are watching the live and you have questions, and because we're wrapping this up now, or if you watch the replay and you have questions, tag Amanda in the post so that she sees it right away. Just make sure you tag Amanda Richardson in the post. I will probably go in and make a comment to tag her, but you know what? She will be putting the comment in with the link to her information. So just reply to that, and she will be able to answer any questions that you have. Are you still, if somebody watched this and was like, hey, you know what, I'd really like to get a quick eyes on my website, would you still offer that for anyone in the group after they've watched this? Or was that just during if they had to catch it?
Yeah, if they would like to jump on a quick call and go through their website, do a quick critique, I would be happy to do that. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. See, look at that. Value, value, value. Everyone, take a look at what we're getting here. So I thought that was great. I thought it was really informative. I totally learned a lot. Now I want to go get more pictures taken, but I'm not going to lie. It's 40 below out where I live, and it's all winter and snow and gunk, and I don't like winter. So I don't want to get photos taken in the snow.
Yeah.
So
snow photos are beautiful, but yeah.
It's not my, I don't want to misrepresent myself and make it sound like I actually enjoy snow, because I don't.
Well, there you go.
So, but I just want to say thank you so much for doing this tonight and for coming on here and doing this live. And again, I'm really sorry, guys, that it was a little bit delayed. Computers, Windows 10 has been the bane of my existence for a very long time, because it decides it wants to do updates at the most inopportune moments, and then I want to throw my laptop out the window, but I need it.
I always delay mine to but I have Apple, but I always delay it to no, remind me tomorrow.
Yeah. Remind me in 6 years from now, please. Yeah. So.
And then my husband comes home after a year and he's like, have you ever updated this? No. I'm too busy.
Okay, so thank you so much. Thanks everybody who came in and watched. Thank you for those of you that are coming to watch the replay. Again, any questions, put them in the comments. Amanda's going to put her information in the comments. And thank you for coming to the Cafe Power Hour for tonight, and we will have more of these to come. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, we're stopped.
Okay.
Yeah. How do you feel?
Oh, good. That was fun. Yeah,
Good.
That was fun.
Good.
It's funny. I had, oh, you're still recording. I don't know if you want to stop.